Hello everybody, welcome to another Flaming Dice Reviews video. My name is Matt, and today we're going to be taking a look at Heroes of Normandie from Yellow Games. Now, Heroes of Normandie is a tabletop miniatures game, but without the expensive miniatures. Instead of using plastic or metal miniatures, which can add up in cost, Heroes of Normandie uses a thick, high-quality, double-sided cardboard to represent the units, the terrain, and the dynamic player board. So we're going to take a look at what comes inside of Heroes of Normandie, look at a little bit of the gameplay, and then I'll meet you back here for my final thoughts. I'll see you soon. So let's take a look at what comes inside of Heroes of Normandie, the game, or the base game I should say. Up here at the top we have our double-sided terrain board, and we'll be taking a closer look at the terrain boards. Each one is very unique, and you can flip them over, rearrange them, and just make an infinite number of possibilities as far as terrain goes. Then we have our score or our turn tracker, and what this does is keep track of turns, and you can put little markers over here on the right side for when special events happen during the different scenarios. Each side also has a deck of cards, which just add a variety to the gameplay. You have your different terrain markers to further customize the terrain. Like here we have a building, here we have a bunker. Over here we have our command boards, and these are kind of the heart of army building. These little holes here allow you to put different things in there, like units, or ammunition, or different types of things that just customize your army, and they all have different point values. Then the game has the core of the game is the units, and here we have some vehicles, including tanks and light vehicles like transports. Then we have our infantry units, including a special command unit over here. The game also comes with these turn markers, or excuse me, these unit order markers, and what these do is it lets you keep the order in which you're activating units a secret. As you can see, they're double-sided. Here's one with a number, and then on the opposite side they have stars. Each side also comes with 2 dice for attacking, and that's pretty much, although there is a lot of these things, a lot of each one of these in the game, that's pretty much the base of it. Then the game also comes with a pretty thick rule book and a scenario book that lays out exactly which units to take in a series of engagements that scale and get harder or get more difficult the further through the scenario book you go. Let's do a basic overview of the units in Heroes of Normandie. Now here we see a support team, a .30 caliber machine gun team, and then a Sherman M4 tank. The really cool thing about these units is that they're double-sided. Now, some of them have a question mark to show that they can hide and be invisible to the enemy under certain circumstances, or some of them can be flipped over to show damage. For example, this support team. If you notice here, the support team has 5 units. Excuse me, 4 units. Hey, counting's hard. But if it takes damage, they go down to 2 units. So that's a way to track if a unit has been hit or not. Even other units have different sides, but they can only take 1 hit. This .30 caliber machine gun team, for example, has the side to represent movement, and then the side to represent deployment. And vehicles, which look absolutely fantastic, have 2 sides as well. They have their operational side and then their destroyed wreckage side. And we're not going to go into all these stats. I don't think we need to get that in depth, but they all represent different things, like their unit, their movement, their stats versus infantry versus vehicles, their defense down here. And again, we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail about that. Now, one of the coolest features of Heroes of Normandie is the game board itself and how customizable it is. Now, these are good, thick cardboard game boards, and there's 6 of them. They're all double-sided, and they have different images depending on which side you have up. Like this one's more of a forest side, and the trees provide cover, so do the hedgerows. But in this example, let's look at this road tile. Now it's pretty plain Jane here. We just have 2 hedgerows. But you might want to add a building, or you might want to add some trees, some additional cover. And that one's double-sided, and on this side you have a little bunker. And if the house is destroyed, the terrain is destroyable, then you have rubble on this side. And the game board all fit together very nicely. And you could make that hedgerow there, or just add an open field on this side, or whatever you wanted. Next, let's take a look at the command boards. Now these are the heart of army building, and if you see here, we have a rifle platoon. Now a rifle platoon includes these units up here: Lieutenants Stewart, a support team, a fire team, and a 30 caliber machine gun team. Now the cool thing about these, as we mentioned earlier in the video, are these empty slots. And what these are for upgrades. So for example, we could add a bazooka squad to this rifle platoon. And we can add a Greyhound vehicle, not like the bus. And we can add a Sherman M4 tank. And we can add different upgrades, for example, this ammo icon. Now instead of our army looking like this and having 4 units, with these upgrades we now have an additional fire team, we have a bazooka, we have another support team, we have an M8 Greyhound vehicle, and a Sherman M4 tank. Now of course these have implications in the army building process. Instead of this being a 70-point army, now it's over a 200-point army. But now we're ready to go out there and kick some butt. Now this is a little bit of an example of gameplay, and this is going to be very, very basic. Now if you look, you can see the American units on this side of the board and the German units on this side of the board. And these are those order tokens in action. Now they're turned so the camera can see them, but they should be turned so that your opponent cannot read the number. And if you'll notice, some of them are blank, and that's the bluff token, so that your opponent doesn't know which unit you're using or in which order, and that can greatly affect the outcome of the engagement. So in this scenario, we have a number 1 on Lieutenant Stewart here for the American side, and a number 1 on the fire group on the German side. So let's say it was the German's player's turn to activate. He would reveal his number 1, and let's say he just wanted to move. And he could move here, 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 or he could come back here and get into cover, or here and get into cover to provide him a little bit of a defensive bonus. But let's just say he moves here. Not tactically sound, but that is an option. Movement's one of the options, as well as assaulting and firing. So now let's say that it's the American player's turn, and Lieutenant Stewart wants to take a shot at the fire group. So he's going to roll his attack die, which is a 4. A 4 plus his bonus to infantry, or versus infantry, is 1. He rolled a 5. Now the fire group's defense is 4. So in this case, Lieutenant Stewart hits the fire group, unless of course a player plays a card that can change the outcome. And this unit has this little flip symbol, meaning that it can take a hit and keep on going. Now you'll notice there's 5 German soldiers here. Since they were shot, they get turned over, and now there's only 3 to represent casualties. And play goes, or keeps going in this order, where players alternate and activate their order tokens, or the units that the order tokens are on. Now we're going to simplify this example of combat a lot. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because there's a lot of stats, especially on vehicles, that I don't want to burden you with right now. I don't think it would make for a good review, and again, this is not a tutorial. But in this example, we're going to let the Panzer take a shot at the support team. Now the support team already has some damage. You see there's the team at full strength, and there they are a little bit already damaged. So they have a defense of 5, and the Panzer has a +4 to infantry with one of its weapons. Vehicles, heavy vehicles, can have multiple weapons. So in this example, the Panzer rolls a 3. 4 + 3 versus a defense of 5 means that the support team has been destroyed. Now, the heavy vehicles also can't just be attacked by anybody. Joe Blow, the American paratrooper, can't just shoot him with his standard issue rifle. It's not going to do anything. And heavy vehicles have different armor ratings. So if we see here, up at the front, the Panzer has a defense value of 9. And on the side, we have a defense value of 7. And in the rear, we have a defense value of 6. Now, some weapons can attack heavy vehicles. For example, this bazooka. So let's say that the bazooka attacked the Panzer. He met or exceeded the 7 armor. Vehicles take damage a little bit differently. Whereas a hit is a hit on an infantry, you have to roll for damage. Well, I guess the American would roll the American die to see where a vehicle is hit. So there's different things that affect the vehicle depending on what number is rolled. For example, if you roll a 6, like we did, if you roll a 6, oh my goodness, if you roll a 6, the vehicle is automatically destroyed. And the vehicle can also be immobilized or use its ability to use weapons. There's different afflictions, or it can be outright destroyed. And again, that's very simplified. The last thing I'm going to mention, and it's sort of to the customization side of this game, are these little miniature expansions. And you can get these at your friendly local gaming store or online. And it just comes with a few new units. Like here we see a vehicle, and we see some more upgrades for the command boards, a new rifle platoon command board, and there's a bunch of different ones. Like that, for example, is an American one. Here's a German one that comes with, let's get that glare off of there. It comes with an anti-aircraft gun, comes with some new tanks, new command board, units, upgrades, and then here's the other one. And I haven't opened these 3, obviously. And over on the left, the bottom left, you can see some mines. So this one adds mines and mine sweepers to the game. Welcome back, everybody. Now that we've seen a little bit about what comes inside of Heroes of Normandie and how the game plays, let's talk about my final thoughts. Well, I really enjoy Heroes of Normandie. I like that it's inexpensive, relatively inexpensive, to get a lot of units versus a standard miniature game or standard war game. The components, even though they're cardboard, they're very thick, very high quality, and there's just a ton of replayability in this game. Also, World War II seems to be just one of those time periods where a lot of people are interested, especially gamers. So Heroes of Normandie really gives you a great way of playing that, customizing your army, and getting just super replayability relatively, and again, relatively inexpensively. The expansions are great. They add a ton more customization to your armies. I think that was a great idea by Yellow and Devil Pig to make these little miniature expansions. A lot of them are anywhere from $8 online to $10 or $12 in a retail store, and they even have larger expansions like for game boards or more game boards to customize the terrain. And I think that's just wonderful. If I didn't like anything about Heroes of Normandy, and I don't, it would be the rulebook. One of the rulebooks, or the rulebook, is written very, very confusingly. And I had watched another review and thought, or heard them say the same thing, and I thought, well, they're probably just playing it up. It's probably not that bad. I've read some pretty confusing rulebooks. Well, they were right. The Heroes of Normandy rulebook can be confusing and seems to contradict itself. If you really sit down and plow through it, though, you can understand it, and I did. And the game is a lot of fun. It really is. It's worth sitting down and putting some time into it. I love the unit customization, how you can build these armies, and how each one of these command boards has near infinite customization. There's really not a whole lot bad to say about the game. It has a little bit of an expensive price point, but you get so much in the box. You really do. Now, I ran Heroes of Normandy through the Flaming Dice Review scoring system, which scores a game based on 8 categories, including artwork, component quality, accessibility, portability, replayability, and Heroes of Normandy got an 88 out of 100. Now, to see more about this scoring system and how we score games, go to www.flamingdicereviews.com. There's an entire tab there that explains the scoring system. And if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and again, visit the website. We write articles, we post reviews. We have a new author there, my very good friend Sergio, who is writing an article about Star Wars X-Wing miniature game. So if you like that game and want to see or be up to date on board game news and just read a lot of really interesting, short, easy to digest articles, definitely check out the website. Again, that's www.flamingdicereviews.com. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.